Can Gregg Popovich make it 3 big game wins out of 3 as he takes on the champions Chelsea live next from Stamford Bridge? Well, good afternoon. It's a wet London, and I think the question here today is, will we start to find some answers to the questions regarding the Premier League this season? Well, one thing we do know is that Gregg Popovich is on kind of a roll at the moment. He's already beaten Liverpool and Manchester City in his first 2 games that are big games against the top 6, as it were. And Manchester United are riding high despite the lofty expectations being reduced by the board at the start of the season. Chelsea, on the other hand, are kind of going the other way. Now fans are getting increasingly frustrated with Conte only scoring 15 points from his first 10 games and his team sitting in 10th. It definitely is a tale of 2 very different stories to what last season was. Well, in the game for Chelsea today, Courtois is in goal with Zappacosta, Cahill, David Luiz, Azpilicueta and Cristo in a many-man defence, as it were, with Bakayoko and Kante just in front of them. Willian is with Morata and Hazard up front. Morata only sitting in second in the goal-scoring charts behind a Swansea man. So overall, Morata is paying something back, but it's an all-round team effort that's struggling for Chelsea with their league position. For Gregg Popovich, David De Gea, as always, is starting in goal, and it's a back 4 again. Darmian is with Jones, Tuanzebe and Luke Shaw today. Matic is with Pogba and Aaron Henwood with another game for the vice-captain. Mkhitaryan and Lukaku are with Martial. And obviously the likes of Rashford only making the bench with the return of Lukaku. And more great news for Gregg Popovich, anyway, is that Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Marcus Rojo are mere weeks from a full return to football. So it'll be interesting to see where Gregg places them when they are ready. Plays to Matic, moving into his former side this afternoon. Morata, as we said, the second top goal scorer in the league at the moment, just 2 behind, I think, one of the Swansea players, I believe, is on the top of that list. The reason we're not talking about Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial so much is because they're actually sharing the goals between them. Marcus Rashford, of course, as we said, on the bench today with the return of Romelu Lukaku. And here's Aaron Henwood bringing it onto his right foot and taking his first shot of the afternoon. And Gregg Popovich has been showing a lot of faith in his vice-captain recently. Aaron Henwood has been getting a lot more games than he's used to. And it hasn't really paid off in dividends as of yet. Henwood's had a bit of a shaky return. Well, not shaky really, just showing the rust a little bit, as it were. But he played well against Manchester City to the point where he wore himself out and needed to be substituted. And obviously, as we said, the big telling point was his lack of sharpness in terms of match, because he was out for the first month of the season with a toe injury. And Bakayoko has skied that over the bar, especially in first touch scenarios. And another cut down there from a Chelsea man. It's Willian against Luke Shaw. We're back from the international break. Chelsea will host, or be the hosts to West Brom will be hosting Chelsea at the Hawthorns. Can't get my words out today. And I think this is just to confirm that Manchester United Newcastle fixture live at Old Trafford.
The fourth official has indicated
3 minutes of added on time at the end of this first half. We've not had a lot going on. Oh, good save for David De Gea from Morata. I think that's the second real chance of the afternoon for Chelsea. And Morata there, it's going in. So David De Gea had to get it clear. Only 2 clean sheets in the league this season for David De Gea. It's been a strange haul for him. Manchester United have been leaking goals in the past few games. It's been a bit of a struggle defensively to a degree. Costa. Aaron Henwood clears it out of the box. As far as Azpilicueta though. Hazard cuts into the box and Kante brings it out, and Hazard and straight at De Gea. And De Gea has definitely been more of the brick wall force we're known to in the previous seasons, and he's kept the score as it is at 0-0. A couple of early chances for United in the first half came to nothing. Morata's had probably the most shots, the second highest scorer in the league this season. In a game where we probably would have expected goals, we have none at the break. It's the going to the break 0-0. And Morata and now Kante, and a great tackle there by Phil Jones. Matic has got it off Morata and come clear with it. And now the ball has gone through. Lukaku is going to latch onto it surely. And no, only Lukaku has missed. And he's going to be a bit rusty to start with. He's coming off a broken ankle, the first full game that he's played since the opening day against West Ham when he broke that ankle. And David De Gea has definitely been the busier of the two keepers, but he's looking more like his old self this afternoon. Doing everything that's thrown at him. Kante, tackled by Pogba. Lukaku. And Aaron Henwood and Martial. And Aaron Henwood has gone into the box. Aaron Henwood has scored his first goal of the season. The vice-captain has buried it in the goal with his right foot. And Aaron Henwood, in has been a run of games recently, has repaid that faith of Gregg Popovich as a poor clearance by the Chelsea man. And Aaron Henwood, with authority, has banged that in the back of the net. A stunning right foot shot, I think that was. We talked a lot about his right foot in the past and how it has dominated scoring goals. And big game DNA, Aaron Henwood has scored his first goal of the season. And it puts United in the lead. Signature celebration pointed to the sky for his mother, of course. And Henwood has made it 1-0 to Manchester United in his fourth game back since his injury that he suffered before the beginning of the season, ironically. And he funked it past Courtois. No chance, with the venom in Aaron Henwood's right foot being well documented. And now here comes Lukaku forward, but he's offside. Well, Alvaro Morata's coming off for Michy Batshuayi coming on. Mkhitaryan is brought down, although the referee says no, although advantage was probably gained anyway. And Lukaku is brought down. That is a free kick against, I think that's Azpilicueta. He's going to get booked. And it is the Chelsea captain.
Substitution for Chelsea.
Let's see this. Oh, he does cut down Lukaku, really. No real complaints as Willian comes on for, I believe that's Pedro. It is. Here's Pedro cutting into the box. And off the bar. And headed back in. And Chelsea have another shot bouncing off the woodwork. They've been rather unlucky in the second half. They've come closest without scoring here. Lukaku just doesn't feel confident to shoot at the moment, and that will be because of his injury. Pogba moves it back towards Henwood, and Bakayoko has cleared it away, and now here's Hazard. Christo forward and headed away by Darmian, who's really coming into his own in the second half, to be honest. And now here's Lukaku, and he's scored it. And it is game over here at Stamford Bridge. And the Romelu Lukaku takes a dive. And wonderful play here from United again. They've looked back to their best this afternoon in a bid to chase and be in the lead of this title race by the end of it, going into the international break. And it's a return goal for Romelu Lukaku. His first of the season in his first real game back. He did take part at the end of their previous matchup, but he's finally got his first goal of the season after suffering a broken ankle at West Ham and being out for the first 3 months of it. And he's come back against his former side and scored against them. And Manchester United are home and dry. Chelsea 0, United 2 with 5 minutes left to play. So, it looks like Aaron Henwood and Anthony Martial are going off. And Aaron Henwood, who gets his first of the season, now comes off at the end of the game. And Gregg Popovich really congratulating him on a job well done. Anthony Martial as well. Solby and Fellaini are on in their place. I think it's Fellaini. It certainly is. Here's Cahill. And Jones clears it away only as far as Cahill, but he's going to be very ineffective in this position. Kante is drifted into the box. And that just sums up Chelsea's afternoon. Cut inside pass for Fellaini, brought it onto his other foot. And couldn't quite bury it. And David De Gea is going to keep his third clean sheet of the season by the looks of it. Of course, we don't want to jinx it, but Chelsea have looked all out of sorts this afternoon. Manchester United haven't been at their best either, but we've got the 2 goals. Liverpool, Manchester City, and now Chelsea are on the defeated list when it comes for Gregg Popovich, and he is certainly proving his worth against the big teams. And it is the first match of the season where Gregg Popovich has played in an other formation. This time a 4-3-3, and this time Gregg Popovich has won and hopefully answered a couple of critics that he can't play anything out of 3-5-2. It has been the norm for Gregg Popovich this season. Aaron Henwood with his stunning first of the season, belting it past Courtois, and Romelu Lukaku getting his first of the season as well after 3 months out with injury. All in all, a very good day for Gregg Popovich and his team, ends in 3 points and leaves Antonio Conte in more misery. Chelsea 0, United 2. Other games coinciding with today, Watford continuing their amazing season by winning 3-1 at Everton, which will probably keep them at the top of the table going into the international break. In the other fixture, Manchester City and Arsenal was a 1-1 draw. So, after 11 games going into the second international break, it's still Watford on their high-flying season. Played 11, won 7, drawn 3, lost 1, 24 points in total. Could they go all the way? We've already had one fairy tale season recently. We could be on for another if Watford keep going like this, but Manchester United under Gregg Popovich hitting the resurgence button in a huge fashion and looking like much improved than they ever were in the years after Sir Alex Ferguson left. It's definitely been a great first 11 games for Gregg Popovich as well, but he has that extra loss to deal with, and that's why they're only in second, but it's a far cry from what Manchester United have experienced in past seasons. Southampton are another surprising team in third place with Liverpool fourth, Spurs in fifth. Swansea are inside the top 10 and actually in the Europa League places. Leicester City have hit the resurgence button themselves. They're now up to 7th under Claude Puel after sacking Craig Shakespeare earlier in the season. Manchester City are only 8th with Arsenal 9th and Everton completing the top 10, getting ahead of Chelsea, who's for more misery for Antonio Conte. The promoted teams, Brighton are in 12th with Newcastle 13th and Huddersfield in 16th. In between them is West Ham and Crystal Palace. Stoke City just outside the relegation zone, a point clear of it, with Burnley, West Brom and Bournemouth on 4 points, and still after 11 games with no win to their name at the moment. And Eddie Howe is struggling. It's Gregg Popovich versus Rafa Benitez. Well, round 2, really, and we're at Old Trafford this afternoon, and Manchester United, much to be joyous about on this return to the international break, as they are pretty much back to a full-strength side, just about. Marcus Rojo and Zlatan Ibrahimovic making the news today as they return to the team. Watford, a point clear of Manchester United going into this weekend, definitely the surprise of the season. As you saw down there, Newcastle lingering near the bottom, so what? Well, that doesn't really tell the whole story, but it is a true fact. Manchester United, the best defensive team in the league, although they have been kind of leaking goals as of late, but they did keep a clean sheet against Chelsea in a very contesting matchup in which 2 second-half goals pretty much settled it overall. For Gregg Popovich today, David De Gea is in goal with Tuanzebe, Jones and Bailly. It's back to the back three for Gregg Popovich today. Lingard is with Matic, Pogba, Captain Aaron Henwood and Wilfried Zaha, with Wilson up front with Lukaku today, as Martial makes the bench with Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Marcus Rojo returning from their ligament damage suffered in various games in the Europa League last season. Rafa Benitez sends out Elliott in goal, just like in the Carabao Cup match. It's Marquilio, Clark, Lugere and Hudelar, so I think it's a different back four. Atsu's with Colback, Moreno and Delonry, and up front is Dwight Gale, I think that is, and Joselu up front ahead of him. So Mitrovic only making the bench today. Marquilio, Atsu, and Aaron Henwood has lost the ball, and Phil Jones has defended valiantly yet again there. Seems whenever any team attacks, there's Phil Jones ready to pounce on it, but not there. And that's a great goal from Moreno, and Newcastle take the lead. And back to leaking goals for Manchester United, as Marquilio doesn't really know where he's going. This is a rather prolonged celebration. And Moreno has scored for Newcastle. Well, nothing really David De Gea could do about that one. And the cross here was whipped in as Atsu called Aaron Henwood out there. Well, not really, but and then there was a whole scramble in the box as Matic there was beaten by Moreno. So Phil Jones really couldn't have done anything about it. We were just saying that Phil Jones, wherever he's another team's attacked, it seems that Phil Jones is there to pester them off the ball, but he wasn't even involved. It was Matic that lost Moreno, quite frankly, and scored the goal there. So Newcastle have the lead, and Gregg Popovich has to come from behind. He already has proven that he can do that. But what is just going on with Manchester United? The best defensive team in the league by far, yes, but the league of goals is somewhat a bit of a small issue that Gregg might need to address at some point. And this is the first time they've really struggled using this, not struggled really, but they are behind using Gregg's preferred formation. So are we going the other way now? Is other formations better for Gregg Popovich, and the 3-5-2 isn't working? It's a strange conundrum with Gregg Popovich. He certainly knows how to confuse us, commentators and pundits alike. And now this one to deal with. Manchester United 0, Newcastle 1. Tackled by Lukaku, and away goes Pogba. And in comes James Wilson. He's buried it. And Manchester United respond as they do. And it's James Wilson, of all people, getting a start today ahead of Rashford and Martial. And it is a bit of a strange one. Maybe he had a word in Gregg's ear. And maybe Gregg just has to give James Wilson a bit more game time than he was ever used to at Manchester United. And maybe it's paid dividends, because James Wilson has equalised for Gregg Popovich's side, and that's the exact response that he would have wanted. If they are conceding goals, at least they respond, which wasn't really the case back in the old days of the we say the old days, they're very recent really, under David Moyes and such. But scoring goals is certainly not an issue with this Manchester United side either. So even if conceding is, if they win, it doesn't really matter. And they've been halfway to that now with a equalising goal. Manchester United back level. It's a goal apiece now. And he certainly is back to more of his best now. James Wilson to Pogba. Look at this passing from Manchester United. Lukaku also getting off the mark against Chelsea. Paul Pogba, who's belted it. And Manchester United take the lead. And another goal for Paul Pogba. And another goal for Manchester United. And another quick-fire goal as well. And all that hope that Newcastle had has been completely diminished by the great work of Romelu Lukaku. The ball came loose off a tackle, but Paul Pogba was most alert to it. And he flung that past Elliott. And Manchester United normal service is resumed. and they are now in front once again. And Rafa Benitez, all that momentum he might have got has been evaporated. Well, believe it or not, that is the first goal in the league this season for Paul Pogba. Considering he's been scoring for fun, it's obviously been in the cup competitions. But whatever the case, Manchester United are ahead after 2 quick-fire goals. United 2, Newcastle 1. And we've got plenty of goals to come, I'm sure. And there's the end of the first half. And Manchester United, more of their comeback credentials is in effect here. Gregg Popovich has probably got all the hallmarks of a Manchester United great at the moment, because he's bringing in all these factors that Manchester United lost over the last couple of years. James Wilson and Paul Pogba have completely cancelled out Mourinho's goal earlier in the first half and have turned things around to lead by 2-1 at the break. It was against Newcastle United, weirdly enough. And that's a penalty on Dwight Gale. It's a penalty. And the captain, Aaron Henwood, is the culprit apparently. And that's unlike him. Doesn't really give away penalties that much. Let's have a look. Well, I don't think he meant to stick his leg out there, but it is a clear foul. And very unlike him. But it is what it is. It's a penalty to Newcastle then, to Dwight Gale. And he scored it past De Gea. And he took a step in the right way and then dived the other. So, great bamboozling there by Dwight Gale. And Newcastle have been brought level. And I'm afraid Aaron Henwood has to take the blame here. He may not have meant to stick his leg out, and that's why he didn't get booked. But De Gea was going the right way. He looked that way and then jumped the other. As you can probably see round about there. So Dwight Gale is given Newcastle lead. That's his first goal of the season then. And now we're back where we started again. It's a 2-2 draw. And it's definitely not the walkover that the last game was. I think the last game was 1-0 win. So we've had a lot more goals in that regard. But Manchester United cannot afford to drop these points with Watford not running away with it, I suppose. They can drop points here and there. Watford aren't really expected to keep this pace up for the rest of the season, although you never know. No one thought that of Leicester, and look what happened there. Are we in for another fairy tale season, this time involving Watford? We've only had very few. We've had Blackburn Rovers, we've had Leicester City, and we could have Watford at the end of the season. What a story that would be as well. Right here today, it's about Newcastle United. And Atsu has put that out for a goal kick, I think. Now it is to go chase that ball, and if there's anyone that can, it's Aaron Henwood, I suppose. Now here's Lukaku. Tricked inside, saved by Elliott. Headed back in by, I think it might have been Lingard. Pogba. James Wilson. Oh, he's picked out Jesse Lingard. And he scored it. And it is, well, it's not go over really, is it? It's 3-2. Manchester United have the lead, and it's Jesse Lingard again, isn't it? Great pass from Wilson here. Fantastic pass. Wonderfully placed. And Jesse Lingard did the rest. And I kind of thought that went wide for a moment, or Rob Elliott had saved it. But Jesse Lingard gets his second goal overall of the season, I believe. It might be from the Champions League, and it is, because it's his first goal of the league anyway. So Jesse Lingard gets another one, and Manchester United back in front. There's certainly no quit in this Manchester United side. And they're back up by 3-2. Lukaku. There's Pogba. And there's Wilson. And in comes Lukaku. And he's put it in. And it seems like Manchester United now are going into another gear. And Romelu Lukaku has made it 4-2 in the space of a couple of minutes. And it's another goal for Romelu Lukaku. Pogba and Wilson here, and Wilson was tackled, and then Lukaku hit it first time. Wonderfully struck by Romelu Lukaku, considering the situation. It's gone through the defender's legs, and he might have wrong-footed the keeper. And it probably has done so, and now there's a bit of a cushion for Gregg Popovich to enjoy. as the minutes come down. And second Premier League goal in a row for Romelu Lukaku then. 2 out of 2 so far for him. And it seems that Romelu Lukaku's season has most definitely begun. Manchester United 4, Newcastle 2. 2 new substitutions for Gregg Popovich, and it is the 2 he promised. James Wilson is coming off for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and Axel Tuanzebe is making way for Marcus Rojo. 2 players injured in the Europa League matches, crucial ligament damage, and now they are just a few months later back in first team football for Manchester United. A phenomenal tale, really, considering Zlatan in particular and his ever increasing age. It was really wondered whether he'd play football again with such an injury, but his doctors informed him that he could probably keep going for another, 5 years I think it was. And unbelievably, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, fresh off signing a 1-year contract extension with United, still has unfinished business to attend to, wants to win the league and the Champions League. Could be his best chance of winning another Champions League medal for him, I think, if he has won any at all. I think he might have done, most likely. But whatever the case, he's back at United, and under Gregg Popovich, it probably wasn't who he was expecting, but even still, he gave the man a shot, and has been rewarded with his first Premier League minutes of the season then, alongside Marcus Rojo. Paul Pogba, another man of the match performance from him today. Lukaku and Aaron Henwood just kept running. Zlatan to Lukaku, and Henwood was offside in that instance. He's still coming forward. Eric Bailly's cleared it, and it's another 3 points for Gregg Popovich and Manchester United again, twice coming from behind. And there is something special about this era of Gregg Popovich right now. All we need is a Fergie time goal, and it's going to be looking like Fergie all over again, isn't it? But whatever the case, Manchester United once again with another outstanding performance. The conceding of goals isn't going to matter as long as the results keep going their way. It's not even a pressing concern because United are always scoring more at the end of the day, just like they used to. It's Lukaku, Lingard, Pogba and Wilson. 4 different scorers today. 6 different scorers if you caught Gale and Mourinho at the start of the game. And 6-goal thriller here at Old Trafford. But United win it once again, 4-2. A lot of scores to catch up on in the Premier League today. We start with the 2 promoted sides and their opponents. We start at the Vitality Stadium with Bournemouth earning yet another point against Huddersfield today with a 2-2 draw, but still no win for Eddie Howe after 12 games now. Brighton with the same scoreline against Stoke City by 2-2 draw. 1-1 draw at Burnley and Swansea City. Crystal Palace lost to Everton by 2-1. Leicester City beating Manchester City by 1-0. Liverpool beating Southampton by 3-1, and then ends Southampton's kind of still at the top for a while. Manchester United beating Newcastle by 4-2, but unfortunately for Manchester United, Watford win again by 2-1 against West Ham, and more misery for Antonio Conte as his team lose to West Brom once again by 2-1. So, one London club in Watford is flying high at the top of the table on 27 points, a point clear of the chasing pack led by Manchester United. They've broken 3 points clear of Johan Klopp's Liverpool. Southampton are in the top 4 still despite their loss today. Leicester City are 5th, followed by Everton. Swansea City continue to be another surprise in the top 10. But 8th and 9th are another 2 London clubs, with Spurs ahead of Arsenal and Manchester City completing the top 10. And Antonio Conte's team continues to plummet down the table, now behind Brighton of all teams, who are in 11th, as Chelsea in 12th. The other London club, of course, being West Ham, down in 13th under David Moyes. Huddersfield climbed to 15th today, ahead of Palace and Stoke City. The relegation zone is as you were, I think, with West Brom at Burnley and Eddie Howe's Bournemouth after 12, as we said. No wins, but 5 points, and safety is looking a bit out of reach, with Bournemouth still having no wins on the board yet.